Welcome in, everybody. It is a kind of a special episode. We're in between like special episode and regular episode of something we're doing after the weekend matches and before our normal Wednesday show. So it is Scarves and Spikes. I'm Tyler Pilgrim here with Tommy Moose and Sydney Hunt. Have y'all recovered yet? We're almost 24 hours removed.
Let's just go to Tuesday. Let's go to Tuesday. I'm over it. Five winless in a row. 2 losses in a row at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 3 winless results in a row at home. 2 of them you should have won. And like your background there, Tyler, I know you're outside, but may as well be raining.
It is raining. It's dreary. I'm like, I have a cloud just over my head. That's all the misery that is going through my mind right now.
That is a perfect metaphor for LA United right now, I think. Tommy, how's the weather in Cleveland?
It's all right. It's like 70s.
Okay, we're done, Tommy.
Celebrating Cinco de Mayo, so happy Cinco de Mayo to anyone that's celebrating, and unhappy sulking Sunday.
I know.
Very much a sulking Sunday. We're going to dive into it. Y'all, make sure you go check out scarvesandspikes.com. We have some good articles over on the website. Check out the shop, patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. Go get you some merch, get you a coffee cup, get you a hoodie, get you a hat, get you a beer glass, because you're going to need it, it seems, with the way this season is going. But yeah, well, look, we just got to dive into it. It was not a great result. This is the first time since 2021 that Atlanta United has had essentially such a bad run of form at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And that's always been your go-to, right? That's always been your thing that you can rely on. They come home, they're going to do well. You're now 3 games in a row at home where you have dropped a grand total of 8 points out of 9. It's not good.
No.
So what do we do?
Win. That's what you do. Sorry, I'm just I feel a little cynical right now.
I mean, but you're right though. Like,
yeah, I mean, guys, we talked about this all the time. We've talked about this before. This season, this team can't win on the road. Now it can't win at home. I mean, again, this is 3 in a row that you've lost at home. The first 2, you should have won. You blew it. And then the third one, I mean, you do good-ish in the first half. Then you just collapse in the second half, give up 2 goals. Really a quick succession. First one, your set piece on the set piece. I mean, worse than marking on, what's his name? Arriaga. And then the second one, Tani, who's in really good form, just has too much space to fire it past Guzan. I feel like Brad could have done better on that, but so why does Oluwase give it that much space in the first place to take that shot? So it's just, I fear, guys, that I'm trying not to be too hyperbolic. I'm trying not to resort to hyperbole here, but this team, I feel like they I don't know if they just tuned Pineda out or what it is. I mean, Pineda said, I forget what the quote was, they were half asleep in some portions of the set. Why? Why is that happening? I mean, you didn't learn from the past 2 times you were at home to not let these quote unquote little moments happen and not like it just stays switched on at all times. Like you hear Brad Guzan talking about all the time, just stay switched on. Why is this still happening? And it's just so frustrating with this team. They have the talent. Tyler, you talked about the talent this team has, and I agree, but they're not getting it done. And that makes me wonder, is what Pineda's saying actually sinking into these guys? Because if it's not, I mean, we all know what the next step is, right?
That's what I said last week, and I thought I was overreacting. I listened to other podcasts, and some of them said it's going to be okay. We're going to get better. The XG's there, all of that. It's going to turn into wins here sooner or later. And I walked away from it saying I overreacted. And I think when I asked you guys, does Pineda finish the season And I gave like a low number. I think I gave like 30% like chance that he was going to go. I think you were both above 50 there.
This rate
I mean,
does
it's
he
going.
finish the month, you know?
Oh, you finished the month, right? Like we kept saying, like this is the month of May is something, and this is a real bad start. And Sydney, you said it. Just listening to Pineda, I mean, at the end there when he's talking about, yeah, they're doing this and this and this. It's been the same thing for 3 years, right? It's been the same thing over and over. The part that just confused me is I felt like I was watching a different game when he said he thought that they had a good first half. I mean, besides the Yakamakis, I think, chance that they had, I did not think that first half was good at all. I thought
Saba had
Minnesota
one
Yeah.
decent one that he kind of he ended up being offside ultimately, but he had the opportunity kind of flubbed. But yeah,
His flexus lines, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a good half at all. Like, you're at home. You should be taking it to them. They were taking it to you at points. Were they getting great quality chances? No. But you didn't look like you were running the game at all. And then you go in the second half, and it just goes down. And I don't know. I felt bad. I was real cynical yesterday. Like when I heard, I forget which one of the announcers was like, I wonder what Pineda has, up his sleeve to get them back in this game. And I'm like, there's nothing. Like I don't see anything happening here. And unfortunately, when we did spaces last week and the week before, the fans weren't totally against. I mean, they weren't for Pineda leaving, right? It was everyone that came on just said it's time for a change. And I saw Rob Usry's poll; it was like at 86% Pineda out here. I mean, the fans are upset, and Doug basically told Pineda, like, the fans the fans want to change here, and I couldn't do what Doug does. Like that's a ballsy thing to say. I mean, could you guys imagine asking him that? I mean, be honest.
I wanted to ask him. I wasn't able to be in the locker room. I had some other assignments to do for MLSsoccer.com for Minnesota.
Show off.
I know. Sorry. No, but I wanted to ask him, have you lost the locker room? Because I mean, it seems like it. I mean, eye test kind of looks like it. Because why are you just doing the same thing over and over again if you're this team? And yeah, I don't know. At this point, is it just they've lost confidence? Maybe saying Pineda's lost the locker room is probably too harsh. I don't know if they've lost confidence. I mean, at the very least, they have. But at the same time, the talent of this team has to perform. And credit to Minnesota, they've had a terrific season. That was even before Ramsey got there. But I mean, you have to perform at home, no less. I mean, you're playing in front of 40,000 people. Mascara had a cross a little bit after they went out 2-0, and it went into the stands, and the fans were booing. I mean, that's where we are right now. It's just bad at this point. It's not really bad, and I'm just disappointed where this team sits right now because, injuries aside, this team should be much better in much better position than they are right now. And I have to be honest, I lay most of this on Pineda. I really do. And I've said in the past, I'm not a like I've said in the past, I'm not a fire the coach kind of guy, but
you're a fire Almada guy.
No, but I mean, what something needs to happen. Something needs to happen, and it needs to happen fast before the season gets further away from them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It really is, because me and this frog on this table right here staring each other down right now. He's coming close. We're about
Do you
to
have poisonous frogs in Georgia?
No. God, thank God.
Poison dart frogs.
I wouldn't be outside right now if we did. Yeah, get on down the road, homie. No, there aren't many excuses left, because at least you always have, and this is not just Pineda, any coach in Atlanta, you always have the fallback of at least you do well at home. At least you do well at home. And then you go and you have the bad results that you've had. And I think what makes it even worse, and some people could use this as an excuse as well, but it's not. But you've got the fact that you went up against 3 really good teams in Philly, Cincinnati, and Minnesota. Objectively good teams, and you could not win against them, but you couldn't win against them at home. And that doesn't show that you are a top 4 team, which is what the goal is. That is what the stated goal is. That is what everybody expects. That's not where you're at right now. It's one thing to go away and maybe you struggle, and it's understandable, but you can't beat them at home, and that is a problem. It's one thing to go and beat, let's say next week, DC United, who's been a perennial rough team. They might be having a slightly better year this year. But you've got, a handful of teams that, like, I wouldn't be confident them coming to the Bends and feeling like Atlanta is going to get a win at this point. And that's not good. That's not good because it's not just me that feels that way. It's the fan base. And that's ultimately what matters. And man, y'all know I've said it over and over again. Yeah. And Matt saying you got to beat a top 4 team to be a top 4 team. You got to beat the best to be the best. Justin saying we're horrible against top teams. Not wrong. Like, you had a couple last year where you beat Philly at home 2-0. Great. That's a great result. You beat Nashville 4-0 at home. Great result. But you need to win those because they're at home, period. You should beat just about any team in this hemisphere at home because you've done it before. You've won the Campeones Cup. You've won matches at home, like against Liga MX teams that you should have won. But now you can't even do that. And it's concerning. You go back to last night, and there was a couple of things I wanted to ask Pineda that I wasn't able to. That we kind of went quickly through the English portion of the press conference, and they went to the Spanish portion, so we went to the locker room. But as the coach that's been here for 3 years, the closest answer we got to what I wanted to ask was when Doug asked, like, the fans are aggravated. What would you tell them? Like, what do you tell them to make them feel better? And unfortunately, the answer, that's given is, it's just not, I think, enough at this point, because I think people want something tangible to hold on to.
What was the answer? If people haven't heard it,
it was, and well, that's Sydney. I was going to say you were there, but you weren't. You were in Minnesota. You were in the happy side of the room.
Right.
It was essentially like, it would be a totally different conversation if they were just a bad team that weren't creating chances and they weren't creating opportunities, but they just have to fix the silly things that they're not getting right. They have to fix the finishing. They're creating chances, and nobody can argue with that. They're creating chances 100%. And yeah, he wanted patience. Patience is fine, but unfortunately patience is very hard to come by when it's 3 years in. And y'all know my opinion. I like Pineda. I want him to stay here, but ultimately at the end of the day, results are what matters. And Atlanta United,
performance business.
Yeah, it is a results business. Atlanta United is what matters. I like Pineda. I really do. I love talking to the guy. I love the tactics behind what he says, but there's a disconnect somewhere. And I don't think it's the tactics. I don't think it is the talent, because I think the talent is there at this point. You can't really put an excuse on that. I think there's a mindset issue somewhere where you can't go out and play soccer for 90 minutes without turning off for 10 or 15 and getting absolutely punished. That's a problem, and it's got to be fixed at this point. So patience, unfortunately, is just really, really hard to come by at this point.
Guys, I've said it before with Pineda. My big thing with him is he the coach to take this team to the next level? Tyler, you're absolutely right. And I've said it on the show, several times. If there's a coach that's nicer, that's more accommodating, that's, more generous with the media, I think Gonzalo Pineda is a very short list. He's a tremendous individual. But is he the coach to take this team to the next level? I've said it before. I don't think he is. I really don't think he is, guys. And, I've said it already, last time I think, or the past couple of times. When he came in, after the team fired Heinze, I think he was the coach for that moment to get that team to the playoffs. But I feel like, guys.
There you go. Perfect quote there.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for Pineda coming in and steadying the ship. And then there's, of course, the thing people are going to argue over, but it's time to move on. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, but you need that coach to motivate players to play to the best of their ability. If you look at Atlanta United, can you honestly say Gonzalo Pineda has motivated the team to play to the best of its ability? And I really can't say that. I mean, Yakimakis, of course. What's up, Connor? Connor from the Lunacy Podcast. Yakimakis, of course, is going to get his. Hopefully, he gets his sooner or later. But I mean, I look at Almada and he's digressed. And I used to think, maybe he's just going through his bad spell of form. Maybe he's thinking about Europe too much. Maybe this, maybe that. But he's digressed, guys. This isn't just a form thing, I don't think now. This is just Almada, is he being coached to the next level? I don't think so.
I mean, most of the players haven't, though. Like,
yeah,
but that's the thing.
I bring up
Caleb
Almada,
Wiley.
Yeah,
I haven't been impressed with Caleb Wiley this year. I haven't been impressed with anybody up front. Like Slish and the center backs and Lennon have been really good. Everything else has just been okay.
Yeah, and we joke about Almada, but I point to him because he's the highest paid player on the team. But yeah, I mean, Saba's taking a step back. Silva's taking a step back. Well,
I mean, you can name them all. Yeah,
I mean,
it's everyone else. D, all the above.
Blah blah blah. Nice username, by the way. Saying, if you heard anyone speak positively about Pineda, like everyone speaks about Wilfred Nancy, I'm not. I get what you're saying. I'm not looking for a Wilfred Nancy type coach. I'm just looking for somebody to motivate these players and get them to that next step. And I just don't know if Pineda's that coach, guys. I really don't.
So, really quick, because leave Emilio's comment up there. But what blah blah said?
Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. Yes, I have heard that coming from Seattle fans and Seattle journalists. Like they attribute the way that Seattle has gone kind of downhill since they won the Champions League to Pineda not being there. Like I think in their mind they kind of see Brian Schmetzer as the coach that is able to provide the discipline and maybe the heavy hand at times or whatever you want to call it, while Pineda was providing the IQ, the tactics, things like that, which is fine. But I think, and this is just coming from, fans I've heard talking and people I've heard talking, like, I think it's maybe a little bit of the opposite right now. Like the tactics, and I will tell you, and you can call me an idiot if you want to.
Idiot.
The tactics are there. I'm telling you, they're there. But there's a mentality issue. There's a mindset issue. There's like a firmness issue. You can't have a successful soccer team go out and play 70 minutes of a 90-minute soccer game and win. You just can't. You have to be turned on for 90 plus minutes every time you walk out on the pitch. And that's what's not happening right now. So I think, Seattle maybe had a little more of a balance right now. And I just don't think right now Atlanta's got the guy that's going to go in a little heavy-handed and push things. And I say that not because I'm just pulling it out of my rear end. Like you go back last night to the press conference, and one of the things that kind of really concerned me in the press conference was when there was the conversation about how, I think anybody that watched the game could go and say, hey, the first half, it wasn't pretty, but you were finding some success in playing the long ball over the top against Minnesota. Minnesota came out in a back five, played a 5-4-1. They were very compact. I mean, they were on the wings, and they had a game plan. Credit to them. They came out, and they really, really pushed players out to try to nullify every aspect of Atlanta playing short passes and playing out of the back. When they played out to the wings, there were 2 or 3 guys out, forcing that player, Caleb Wiley, Brooks Lennon, whoever, up against the touchline. When they tried to play through the middle, Muyumba was having struggles. Slish was good, but then Almada wasn't able to get the ball, so he was having to drop deeper. So they nullified a lot of Atlanta's ability to play out of the back, but Atlanta was catching Minnesota off guard when they played balls over the top. When you had Edwin Mosquera making runs down the side, when you had Saba making runs down the side, that's how you beat a team that wants to sit there and play like that. So you go into the half, right? And in the press conference, Pineda says that they had this kind of chat about let's hit more of these balls over the top. It's what was finding some success. You had opportunities in the first half. And then they come out, and instead of doing what the coach asked, they start playing the short passes, trying to play out of the back, continuing to do the things that were not working, to the point that it seemed as if it were, knowing what we know now, it were the opposite of what the coach had told you to do. And that is concerning to me. If your players are coming out trying to do the opposite, trying to, I guess, essentially think and know better than you do as the coach, I understand giving them creativity. I totally understand that. But if you tell them to go do something and they don't do it, that's a problem. That's a problem. And that's a respect issue. I don't know that it's a lost the locker room issue, but it's concerning in a very, very big way. Yeah. So I think that's where all this kind of comes back to me in terms of like, man, you have to put your foot down like right now, or else summer will come. And I don't know that you're going to have much of a leg to stand on in terms of an argument why you should still be here. Yeah. And I hate to say that. I really do.
Yeah. Well, let's not think too. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
I was listening to Stoppage Time, with the post game with Jason and Mike, and I forget the other two guys. I'll get it eventually at some point. But
Abe
listening to them,
yeah.
Mike said a comment, saying, this is also the Gonzalo Pineda that, has won 3 games this season, right? And I've been on here for a while, and I brought this up in Spaces yesterday. I made excuses for a lot of the losses, right? This loss happened because of this. This loss happened because half the team was gone. This one was opening day in Columbus. Let's look at the wins real quick, and specifically the first 2 of 3. You beat 2 teams that were very exhausted and playing on short weeks. You beat New England, who was on basically a 4-day rest. They came from New England. They had a game on Wednesday. You played on Saturday. And then you also had, when you beat Orlando, a little bit less of time. What was it? It was Tuesday to Sunday, I think it was, with them. And then, obviously you destroy Chicago, and they didn't have an excuse there. But, like, you've only beaten one team that's not on short rest here. And, like, those short rest games, people were saying, they won on short rest. And the argument was, well, you should, right? Those are the games that you should, and that hasn't always happened to Atlanta United. But, you beat and all these teams haven't been very good either. Like, Chicago hasn't been good. Orlando hasn't been good, and neither is New England. Like, here's 3 teams that have been very mediocre, and those have been your wins. I don't know. Looking at them now, saying, okay, well, sure, we got the wins, great, but like we haven't had that impressive of a game against a big team here, and
it's true.
I don't think, again, and you guys keep apologizing, I don't want Gonzalo Pineda gone, and I don't think we need to, say like. I don't think we need to say that. I think we need results here. And his 100th game, right? It was his 100th game.
Yeah.
You've seen a sample size. You've seen a large enough sample size. It comes down to, ultimately, he's not coming back next year. I would put it at almost 95% now that there's no chance. The question is, do you let him go and then let Rob coach the team the entire season, or do you let him go, let Rob run the team, and then you hopefully find your guy here that's available between now and the summer, or do you just let Pineda run the year out? And that's a lot. And for a fan base as passionate as Atlanta United is, that want to win, I think just sitting here for an entire year waiting for Pineda's contract to run out is not the right answer.
So let's get to. Oh, sorry, Ty.
No, I that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a lot of hard choices, but I think ultimately you've got to figure out the positives here. But I'm telling you, if Pineda's here the entire year and the results aren't there, the fan base is going to be furious. And if you're just going to end up doing this in July, anyways, or June, at the end of June, I don't know why you wait.
And let me say this really quick, because I know people are like, it was funny. We have people. I saw a comment on Reddit, which I rarely go on ever, and we've talked about it. People are like, "Oh, Scarves and Spikes is very Pineda out," and I'm like,
"No, we're not."
Reddit.
I don't know where
the dark of the internet.
Like, where did you ever hear that from? Like, I actually think, just my opinion. What are you talking about? Are you pointing at me right now?
No, I'm pointing to Sydney. Is my camera weird?
Oh, you're back.
I think I flipped it because I was shaving the other day. I had to switch the camera because
your beard has thrown you off.
I was getting confused. So okay, but yeah, I was pointing to Sydney because Sydney's been everybody out.
Yeah, over there.
No, you're pointing to Tyler though. But go ahead.
But no, I mean,
never mind.
We've never ever come out and just been like, oh, this coach has to go.
We're not that kind of podcast.
But first of all, like I have to say, one thing that I will never ever do is talk absolute garbage about a player or a coach or anything, because I think it's easy to forget that, like, these are people. Like, this is their job, and I understand that this is a results business, but there is no reason to come out and just dog on somebody because you're not in their shoes. And I've been in that position where I have people that, they may know somewhat of what they're talking about, or they may not know what they're talking about at all. It doesn't matter. There's constructive criticism and there's garbage. And you will never hear me or us spew garbage ever. Constructive criticism, totally fine. Right now, I will be the first one to tell you, I mean, the seat's hot. The seat is hot.
Yeah.
But that's objective. Like, that's not just me saying that. That's not just us saying that. That's not just Taylor Twellman saying that. That is not, mainstream media saying that. That is just because, like, you're not performing as a team to your standards at all, as a club that you have set as a club. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I will say, like, because we're at that point now where, it very well could be, going back to Emilio's comment, like, if they don't win on Tuesday, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
this is going to be a crap show. So, but even if they don't win, you're not going to hear me come out and be like, oh, well, Pineda's, this trash person. Like, no, he just maybe doesn't fit at the time here. Maybe he fits in another place at another time. But I can say that and also agree that, like, the club needs to move on. And maybe that's what happens, because at this point right now on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2024, yes, I think, like, it's getting pretty touchy. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot would have to happen for Pineda to keep his job, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And then just going back to Emilio's comment, talking about, speaking of Open Cup, he was asking, do you take Open Cup or do you blow off Open Cup to country on league play? No, I don't think so.
You can't.
I think that might be that's your best chance of the trophy right now is Open Cup.
And that's literally shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
If you blow it off.
Tyler, I'm with you though. If they lose on I know we should be having this conversation, but
no, this is fan fiction, man. Go with it.
No, but I mean, this team lost to a really good second division side, to take nothing away from Stephen Glass and Memphis 901 last year.
It was pathetic.
Yeah, I mean,
no, it was pathetic. You have
that
have
much
to
win,
talent.
though. You have to win. Yeah, you have to win.
But it wasn't even about the win. They were dominated.
Yeah. I mean, if you lay an egg against Charlotte Independence on Tuesday, I mean, I don't know.
Like, this is not Charlotte FC, by the way.
Yeah, it's not Charlotte FC. This is Charlotte.
For anybody listening that doesn't know, this is not that team. This is two tiers down from Charlotte FC.
Third division USL League One. If they lose to, if Atlanta United loses that match, I mean, I don't know if you could defend keeping Gonzalo Pineda.
Is he gone Wednesday? If that happens,
absolutely. I mean,
whoa, absolutely.
No, I mean,
we've never gotten this much sureness out of Sydney in 2 years. 2 years, absolutely.
I would be
absolutely.
Stunned. I maybe this is a conversation we should be having. But if Charlotte Independence comes into Fifth Third Stadium and leaves with an upset win, I mean, I feel like Pineda will have no legs to stand on at that point, because not only is your best shot at the trophy gone, but you've just lost to their division side. And that's, take all the conversation about rotation away, because they're always going to rotate. And I think Josh Cohen is going to start because he'll be in the press conference on tomorrow. But this team's going to be rotated. Even with this team rotated on Tuesday. No, I'm not putting my beer, JBG. Get out of here. Even with this team rotated.
No, I guess you don't love the podcast like I do.
Even if the team rotated, and I would expect to see Cohen, of course. I mean, he saw that sure to start on Tuesday. Efrain Morales, I feel like it's going to start, or at least because he wasn't on the team sheet against Red Bulls 2 on Friday, so that tells you he could be in line for at least some playing time.
He was on the team sheet last night.
Oh, he was. Okay. So Cohen at the very least.
Him and Cobb likely.
Yeah.
Which I'm not mad at. I'm really not.
Your future.
Yeah. Yeah. For that, even if that team is rotated, they should win, right?
We said this last year.
Well,
but here's the thing: like, I don't think the gravity of like if you don't win in this game has set in, because let's go down that fan fiction rabbit hole for a minute, because we to be fair, we got to go the other way as well. Like, what happens if they win?
Doesn't matter.
If they win, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't
because
mean
the conversation will be you beat a Division 3 team, which you should win anyway.
You have to do.
You're not in a good situation there. It's not. It's DC, right? It's going to DC. It's then going and playing a midweek game against Cincinnati. Like, you are going to have to get everything out of all of your guys this month, right? And it doesn't help that Tyler Wolf got hurt at the end of that game. Hopefully he's okay, but that's a terrible situation, especially if Silva's not available this week. A very bad situation you're in. But I mean, that's what we were talking about in our Discord last night. It doesn't matter here. This game is nothing. It's expected of you to beat a lower division team. But then it's on to DC. And if you lose in the Benz to DC, I understand they're 1 point ahead of you, but you should be way ahead of them at this point in the standings. I think it's more the DC. I think the DC game's more important in the overall grand scheme of things here. I don't think I'm really worried about Tuesday. I think that they'll end up getting the win there. I don't. If it's close, I mean, that also looks bad too. You know what I mean? Like, if you go and you barely win a 1-0 or a 2-1 game against that also looks bad. I mean, unfortunately, it's a situation you get put in these tournaments where, yeah, you know what, you end up losing or being real close to a team in a much lower division than you. You're gonna get criticized, and when you're already on the hot seat, it's gonna get worse here. And we talked about the schedule's hard this month. It's not easy at all. The big one, I mean, I guess the easy game is this Saturday against DC. Like, I guess that's your best one. I know Nashville's starting to get a little bit better, but I mean, other than that, I mean, again, it's on the road. Nashville's on the road, so you're in trouble there. You're on the road with Miami. You're on the road against Cincy. Like, this is not a hard month, and that's we talked about it last week. Like, Zilf put up the poll when he said, does this game get Pineda fired? If they lose to Minnesota, does it get Pineda fired? No, it's the whole month of May. But at this point, does he last until the end of May? I know I got that bet with Kevin. He said he was going to be gone before the summer transfer. I'm going to owe Kevin a 6-pack of beer. And he's probably laughing right now as he does this, because he's brought it up like twice in like 12 hours. But I right now I would say that he's not even going to be here at the end. I don't even think he's going to be here by the time we get to Miami.
So I want to kind of talk about, if we can, just maybe talk about a little bit about Tuesday and what that rotation will look like. I mean, Cohen is going to start, probably almost 100% that he'll start. Center back pairing, I know we talked about maybe Efraim Morales and Noah Cobb potentially. I feel like I'm kind of torn. I feel like with Caleb and Brooks has played a lot. Do you rotate one or both of them? Because, you have Hernandez who could start on either side. So do you rest one of them? So that's something to consider. What's wrong?
I don't know. Tyler was doing his weird thing with his mustache. I didn't like it. It's weird.
I'm just thinking, and I'm struggling. Go ahead.
I don't like what your mustache does when you think. I don't like that. Sorry, Sidney.
No, but
At least I have one.
Calm down, guys.
I didn't make a bet.
This is what happens when Atlanta United loses.
Exactly.
Turning us against each other.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say that. No, but I wonder if at least one of Wiley and Lena gets rotated for Tuesday. Midfield, what?
You're right, though. You're right. Ronald will definitely be in.
Yeah.
And Brooks, didn't Brooks not get a break until Cincinnati last year? That was like his first game off.
Yeah, if he hasn't played, I think he's subbed out once this year, but he's a workhorse for this team.
Well, no, I meant last season. Last year, I don't think he got a break until Cincinnati.
Last year, I think he got subbed on in the Open Cup game that they ended up losing, like in the very last part of the half before they went back down, I think. But other than that, he was like leading minutes for a long time.
Yeah, no, exactly. So midfield pairing, I'm just going to get to that. Dax, I feel like does start. I think you do start Dax. Do you start Jay Fortune though? So you go with that partnership in midfield.
I'm gonna throw this out off the top of my head without looking at anything. From back to front, I think it's Cohen starting. Cohen. Yeah. I think you get Noah, and I still think you start Abram. And then I think you have Ronald on the right because that is his natural position. And then you stick Caleb Wiley into it for a while. And then I do think you have Jay Fortune and Dax McCarty and probably Nick Firmino at the number 10. And then
I'm just going to ask, do you rest Almada? Because Almada's played just about every minute or close to it this year.
Yeah, I think he gets the break. As much as I would love to see him play on a football field, I think you get Nick Firmino up there. On the left, I think you see Saba actually start, I think. And then on the right, probably Mosquera again. And then up front, I think you see Daniel Rios.
Do you put Rios in there or Yakimakis in there to continue to get him match fitness?
I think you put Rios. I don't think you want to push Yakimakis. He can get match fitness. He can get his time on the training ground and everything else. He's playing. It's not like he's not playing. I think you give Daniel Rios a shot. And it's different because it's not like years prior where you weren't having your backup strikers execute. I mean, he's had his goal. He got an assist last night. Like, he's actually been doing the things, right? I mean, even when he's not scoring, he looks like he belongs out there. So I wouldn't be mad at all if I saw Daniel Rios out there for 70 minutes. I mean, I think Yakimakis maybe comes on if needed. Like, if it's not like 2 or 3-0 by the 70th minute, maybe Yako comes on and just does what he does. But I don't think you should be going into this match fully expecting it to be like the 6-0 that you had against Chattanooga FC.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you should be aiming for.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of.
Do you like Saba though on the left?
I mean,
I hate it.
Silva, I mean, may or may not be available. I don't know if you start him because he's still coming back from injury. So you may have very little option They had to start Sawa over there and Mascara on the right.
I don't like Sab on the left. I just don't.
I mean, I got to give credit though where it's due. The left wing has been your Achilles. Sorry, the left wing has been your struggle bus over the past few matches, and so I got to give credit for trying something different because like what else do you do? We've gone back and forth over the Caleb Wiley, Edwin Mosquera. I'm sorry, Tyler Wolf and Edwin Mosquera kind of who starts, right? Like, do you bring in Tyler or do you bring in Edwin? Who do you bring in the second half to kind of shut the game down? Sometimes you have to swap things up a little bit, and we know that Saba can play on both sides. And I thought Edwin Mosquera looked good in the first half and part of the second half last night. I think he definitely fell off and tapered off, mostly because I think I don't want to say immaturity. It's because I don't mean it in a bad way, but I think he started trying to force things that didn't need to be forced because they're chasing the game at that point. And that's not where you want a U22 signing to be trying to impact the game. You want the U22 signing coming in just by sheer talent, helping you score goals. So no, I think 100%, like he's a guy that needs to either start your matches and get you ahead or come in later and help you shut a game down. I don't know. I could go off into a totally different tangent. And I'm not going to, but
yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
So how are you feeling prediction wise? I mean, I think we all agree that Atlanta United should win this game going away. I mean, even if it's not the 6-0 that you mentioned, Tyler, I think a 4-0 scoreline would be, I feel like this should be 4-0 or something like that. 5-0 around that territory. Yeah,
I'll take the 3-0 win.
3-0 and you play them off the pitch. I mean, 3-0 could look a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
I think a 3-0 where you just pepper their keeper with shots and the scoreline just is a little bit more flattering to them due to the chances you've had, I think would be very good. But like you guys were saying, if you win, like you squeak out a 1-0 through a late winner or extra time or something like that, or penalties, I mean, you gotta wonder why that is. I mean, it doesn't help Tornado's cause in any way, shape, or form. So, I mean, you have to win it going away. So, I think I'll stick with 4-0, really. I mean, that's my view.
I mean, it's valid. 3-0 for me, 4-0 for Sydney. Tell me what you got.
I was going to say 3-0 too. I mean, and and it might help the team's morale that they get that win there for sure.
So at least you'd want a game.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe that's a win that they need to get things, to get a little bit of confidence back going. Staying home against DC here, because you're going to need it, because you're going on a hard road trip after this. So yeah, I mean, could this be a moral victory for them? Sure. Like, I think that could be something for them. It's bad. I right now, I mean, the fan base is not in a good shape right now, and
no,
I get it.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I was just say, like, for people that like just watch at home, like, I understand, but even more, like, the people that spend their money to go to these games, right, and spend their time and spend their money on these tickets, know that this team's good. I mean, they know that we've gotten this. Tyler, you said it was one of the best rosters that we've had, and we're not playing like it. And moral victories like possession and XG, like, okay, cool. We should have won this game, right? We should have won this one. We should have won in Chicago. All this, ultimately, it's not going to get you in the playoffs here. Yeah. And we know what happens when it goes on the road. So if you're going into a best of 3 and any of those top 4 cities, you know that you're screwed at that point. No one has confidence that you can go win on the road. And that's That's why I said that Chicago game was just so important for this team, was to get the points when you can get them. And we said, like, Chicago and in DC, when we looked at it like in a 2-month span, those are the games that you had to win. And you're already down. You're already down one of those there, and the rest is very difficult. But when you're towards the bottom of the table and you're only I think you're only 2 or 3 points out of second last. Most teams are above you at this point. So I don't know.
Brooks Lennon said last night in the locker room, sometimes it is a good thing after a loss to have that quick turnaround. And this is like a really quick turnaround, Saturday to Tuesday. Yeah. Because you don't have time to think about it, man. You just got to go back to the fundamentals. And I kind of feel like that's what this team needs, because like all the things that you were told that they were working on in the preseason, like they were somewhat executing, I think. Right. Like, again, maybe we can have the discussion about like the teams that they did it against sucked, or like for whatever reason, like weren't at their best, and that's fine. But at least they were executing. Right now, yeah, D. Dot saying Arthur Blank spent too much money for the team to look like this. You're not wrong, actually. Like, you're not at all. Like, and I think fans understand. I think, like, that's the problem. Like, it's not like we have our finger on the pulse of this fan base. We really do. And that's not like a big head argument. Like, I think we all agree and understand. Like, we hear the fans on Spaces. We see them on scarvesandspikes.com. We see them on Twitter. We see them on Threads. We see them on Instagram. Like, we kind of get what people are saying, but it's also like the fans that maybe aren't on social media, that are just at the bins that we talk to, that are like, man, like, what is going on right now? Like, how much money is this team going to put into talent and then not be able to turn it into results? And that's where they're at right now. But yeah, Brooks said it really well last night, that this is maybe what the team needs, is a quick turnaround, because it forces you to just move on.
Yeah.
You can't dwell on something like this. You can't dwell on last night, and you need a good result. And I've said it before in similar situations with Atlanta United, but sometimes it doesn't matter where the goals come from or the results come from. It doesn't matter if you're playing Griffin Tech. No offense, Griffin Tech. But if you go out and you beat Griffin Tech 10-0, you beat Griffin Tech 10-0, and you scored some goals and you hit the back of the net and you remembered what it felt like, and you remembered what it felt to get in those positions where you could do it. And sometimes that's all you need. A lot of this is a mind game, because to Pineda's credit, he said, they're doing everything right except for what ultimately matters, which is putting the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
That's not true. He just listed a whole bunch of things that they did wrong.
Okay, I mean, yes, like falling asleep in the middle of a game.
Right, and that happened 2 games before that, or that happened in the Philadelphia game. It happened in the Cincinnati game on the corner. They fall asleep. They do something stupid.
Well, I mean, if we're being fair, like that goes back to 2022. Like, this is a conversation we've had for years.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just we keep saying the same things over and over. You've got different players coming in, the same result. And I don't remember his name. I was exhausted last night, but I think it was David who came into Spaces. He said, this team has improved or upgraded or matured, maybe was the word he had, like in everything that you had right now. Like, you've made the roster better, right? You've made your analytics department better. You've made the scouting department better. Your president is one of the top guys in MLS as far as a front office guy. The only thing that you haven't upgraded at this point is the manager. Yeah. And unfortunately, and again, like I don't think any, like, we've read the comments and all that. Like, I don't think anybody like actively hates Gonzalo Pineda. Like, the guy seems like a good dude, right? I think there's some people that when Heinze left were like, good, I'm glad he's gone, because he kind of seemed like a jerk. Just how he dealt with the media and all that, and then the whole water stuff. Like, it was like, all right, good, that's gone. I don't think people like actively hate Gonzalo Pineda. I think just what they want is they want a winning product on the field, and unfortunately, 100 games and all that. That's you've seen the sample size, and Sydney, like you mentioned earlier, started to keep revamping things, but like if you're losing and you still have the team, that's something that's different. But just remember when Frank DeBoer was gone, you had Boca on the sidelines at the MLS Cup is back, talking to Jeff Lorenowitz about something, and it ended up coming like he was down there to see like what it was like down there and what what the pulse of the team was, and then he's gone within a week. Right. Like, and that's I guess where it's everybody in the front office has to figure that out. Has he lost his team? And we had people out there saying that the players were very frustrated. They weren't talking. They were yelling at each other. Someone said Yakimakis was yelling at Pineda from the sideline, I guess not understanding what he wanted him to do. I mean, that's, just different things that we heard. And just, and then you talk about earlier about, them not doing what he wanted them to do. This all just keeps adding up to, it sounds like maybe that it's starting to be the case here. And if that is, I think you got to pull it sooner than later.
Yeah. So Tuesday, I mean, because the Charlotte Independence, like you said, short turnaround, U.S. Open Cup, and then right back at it on Saturday at the Benz against DC United. And that's really two defining matches for this team. So, yeah, the team will be rotated on Tuesday, and then you'll see your preferred 11 on Saturday. So, Atlanta United just has to win these both of these matches. But whatever the case, we'll be here.
And I will say, Charlotte is they're also on somewhat short rest. If you want to factor that in, like ultimately it shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't. But they traveled out to Fresno, so they had a trip on Friday. Atlanta played Saturday, and then we're talking about Tuesday. So they're I feel like we're having the Chicago conversation all over again. There are no excuses for this match. Period.
I will shave my beard if they don't.
Shave your beard again.
Someone said, I think Bruno said on Spaces, if they lose, I have to like frost my tips, which I've done. Which my punk rock phase and all that. I had that at some point.
So did I. No, I didn't.
You had frosted tips?
No.
Whoa!
No, I did not.
Oh, you just blew my mind there.
I know. I was like, oh my God, we need pictures.
I mean, that's all I got. What do you guys got? Anything more?
Derek said shave your eyebrow.
No, I'm not shaving anything.
I've got. I will say this. Justin said that the depth is what's killing us. I don't agree with that at this point. I think you could have that argument during the, maybe some of the injury situation, but you've got most of your starting guys starting. I don't think that you can use that excuse. And I understand like where that's coming from, because in the past the depth was not as deep as it is now. But I don't think that's an excuse to lose the matches that you're losing. If it were like a string of away games, I could give some credence to that. And I said this last night on Spaces. That's not what I said, Dan. The other thing that Dan said, we could potentially move on from up to 12 players this offseason. You have a lot of players that are either on their very end of their contract or they have an option year that the club can pick up. We said it this time last year, but this club could look vastly different. This team could look vastly different this time next year. And while I do think there could be some upgrades, I also think that the squad that you have right now in Cinco de Mayo 2024 should be getting a lot more than what they're getting right now. At least 7 more points in the past 4 matches.
Exactly. 100%. 100%. Well,
anything else? Y'all got anything?
This is me with frosted tips. I look like the devil.
Or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right?
All right, y'all go to scarvesandspikes.com. Go check out the website, check out the shop. It's on the website, but if you want to go straight there and skip the website, don't do that. But if you'd want to, Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes and Etsy.com/Scarves and Spikes. Oh my God, it's
Tommy.
Harry Potter.
I look like a mad scientist.
No, you look like
Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Tommy.
Where did this come from? Blah, blah,
Let's see the
blah.
lightning bolt.
Guys, love your content.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you watching.
We appreciate it. And
we'll be back Wednesday. Well, you guys will be. I'll be at a hockey game, but
Tuesday we'll definitely do something short, probably prior to the match. Just to get
KSU,
get everybody all hyped up. Yeah, from Fifth Third Bank Stadium, action at the Fraction, and then we'll be back Wednesday for the normal show, and hopefully it's a happy one.
Exactly.
We will see y'all then.
See ya.
As
Justin said, I went through serious changes. I think it's a compliment.
We all
That's
have.
nice.
A metamorphosis, he said. Breaking out of your cocoon.
That's right.
What was like the spells that Harry Potter used? Give me a name of one.
Avada Kedavra. Oh wait, sorry, that's the kill
I
people
couldn't
one.
tell you. My girlfriend and
Abra Pineda Otis.
my girlfriend and I are going to be watching the Harry Potter movies at some point. So,
Hey, do it,
Have you
man.
never
They're
seen
great.
them?
no,
I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm a big Harry Potter nerd, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not. Why am I not surprised?
Hey, that was
I watched
rude.
something the other day. It was called the Harry Pothead. It was like it was really good. It was like about this guy Harry that was trying to like legalize marijuana in his state. It was Harry Pothead. It was great.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh, it's
This is all
Sunday
going
night,
downhill.
y'all.
Yeah. All
Please
right, see you
maintain.
guys.
Bye.